Here are the 5 things that you should be aware of to make the most of your Mercury-Pluto conjunction times. When Mercury conjuncts or conjoins Pluto, they become one. It happens once a year, every single year. I'll list the next 5 years or so if you want to see that down below so you'll know exactly when these things come up. Number 1, be aware that you or people around you may have a tendency towards obsessive thoughts or communication. When Mercury and Pluto combine, there's this atmosphere that's ripe for things to become very intense, very pressured. Some serious problems may be at the top of your mind during these times. There may be a temptation to push them away, but the best way to use this energy is by actively pursuing the topics, because potential deep solutions can also arise during this time. This is a more contemplative, inner experience, and sometimes the answers do come when we do something routine, such as like going for a walk or just doing some sort of exercise or doing the dishes or a puzzle, something that's just not really taking too much active thinking. The second thing that could come up during a Pluto-Mercury conjunction is some really supportive energy for troubleshooting and in-depth, deep research or mental work. Pluto and Mercury joining makes the space for a sustained engagement on a singular line of thinking. You can be really focused on one thing. The answer to these Mercury-Pluto situations is to look really below the surface. This is a perfect time to be doing that. The truth needs to be sought after, and the truth needs to be pursued. And with sustained effort, it will be revealed. So deep, contemplative, troubleshooting, research, mental work, really good during this time. The third thing I want to share with you about Mercury-Pluto conjunction is being conscious of the astrological archetypes that are playing around and dancing in the sky gives us an advantage. This energy will come through us somehow, come through our life somehow. It's like there's an order being made at the restaurant, the order's up and it needs to be delivered. It has to be satisfied. It's coming, so it'll come one way or another. But we can actively direct ourselves towards a theme related to the transit. For this one, you can make this offering sort of, or burn off the energy, so to speak. Yeah. Remember this guy? Dr. Richard Tarnas, Cosmos and Psyche fame, calls Mercury conjunct Pluto the archetype of the detective. There might be some stronger interest developing in like detective novels or themes, mysteries, engaging in something mysterious, some sort of case to solve, something along the lines of Agatha Christie or Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, in a book form, film form. And that could be very appealing during this time. There may be some sort of dive into depth psychology or an interest in criminology, something like that could come up. Some desire to understand motivations, what's behind the motivations of people, their psychology. Go for some Nietzsche, or not, maybe not. The fourth thing that can happen during a Mercury-Pluto conjunction is you may find yourself able to write, speak, or think with more precision. It's a time of a more intense mental activity, and it's very penetrating in the quality of the thought. It's not superficial at all. That's just not going to be satisfying. It has to be real, it has to be deep, authentic. The ability to persuade or be persuaded is very ripe during these Mercury-Pluto conjunction periods. This really great astrologer, Robert Hand, says, under this transit, you have the ability to make penetrating analysis of human nature, but be careful whom you discuss these with and what you say. You may also encounter this problem in a projected form. That is, you may have to contend with someone who acts towards you in any of the ways described above. This transit can indicate a mental power struggle in which you may be either the victim or the perpetrator. So it's just really important to keep in mind during Pluto-Mercury conjunctions that it's a very persuasive, very powerful, mental, verbal, communicative energy. Number 5, because we're being Mercury-Pluto real, we need to touch on the shadow side. And wise astrologer Ren Butler, I'm going to read to you what he says. The shadow side of Mercury-Pluto emerges when driving energies press upward from within, warping the balance and serenity of people's mental states. They become fixated on one train of thought obsession. They might also be tempted to engage in intellectual power struggles, devastating criticism, or the moral and psychological analysis of others. Even when these perceptions are accurate, it's generally more helpful to turn the penetrating insight associated with Mercury Pluto onto oneself and one's own inner deep motivations. During each Pluto-Mercury cycle, there's another layer to uncover, especially when it comes to our mind. If you have Pluto-Mercury conjunction in your natal chart, I'd be really interested to hear if this resonates with you, and if so, how does it resonate with you? How has it come through in your life? My books are falling down. Now I gotta put my books back. I like you just the way you are, and I'll talk to you next time.